Hello and welcome to another episode of the Watch It Played Q&A. My name's Matthew and together, with a bunch of your help, let's endeavour to answer all of the internet's burning board game questions. And the first question we have this month is obviously, the spring equinox is on the 20th of March. What are the best spring games? Bit of a reach, isn't it? I thought. But what are the best spring games? What are those games that make you feel fresh with the cut grass of spring? This might be the most subjective recommendations I've ever done in my entire life. What makes you feel like spring when you play it? The first game that makes me feel like spring, I guess, is Field of Green, which is a great excuse to talk about one of my favourite games of all time. Field of Green is the re-implementation of Among the Stars. It's a drafting game where firstly you draft your cards into your own hand, and then as you play them, paying the costs out, you draft around the table and you take a card and you play a card and you pay the cost, and there's lots of actions to do, but essentially what you're doing is building a farmland area full of spring animals, I guess. There's ducks in it and sheep in it, and it's all about getting tiles like these cards, these square tiles, out in a big tableau in front of you that create your large farm, but you want silos and you want water to activate those cards. So you want the ducks will score you a few points if they're near this type of field, and the cows will score you if for every one of these around it, and all the cards need to be powered as well by water and by food. It is one of my all-time favorite games. I absolutely love it, and it's full of the fresh baby lambs of spring. The next game that puts spring in my step is Arboretum, because trees bloom and blossom in spring. Arboretum's got all of that. Any season would really work for Arboretum, apart from the dreaded winter. But spring is a great time to go for a hike, and Arboretum is a great game to take on that hike and be angry when you play it. Arboretum is an amazing, fantastic, devilish, fiendish, spring-filled game. It's a game where you are trying to create these paths of trees, and there's lots of different ways that it scores, but essentially you want rows of trees to create points, and some of the different trees give you extra points, but also you only get to score for that tree if you also have the highest value of that tree left in your hand at the end of the game, which is oh gosh, what a conundrum to be in. Fantastic. It's also got that brilliant Lost Cities feel to it, because of you don't want to discard cards into discard piles, because you know that I know that you're collecting jacarandas and I can't discard this because you need this. Oh, what an amazing game Arboretum is. The next one I thought was fairly obvious, because that's Bunny Kingdom. Bunny Kingdom is full of bunnies. A kingdom of bunnies. I would retire there in a heartbeat. What you're doing is, it's a Richard Garfield game, and it's drafting, card drafting, and so you play a card and pass them around, and every card represents a location on the board in this big grid, and you're trying to create groupings of buildings, but you're also trying to draft some scoring cards into your hand so that you can, I score for all of these, and there's lots of things going on in it, and there's expansions to it as well. How is this a game? It's just a board covered in miniature bunnies. But then you play it and it reveals itself quite nicely. But it's phenomenal. And again, it's devilish, because you're trying to draft the things that you need, but you know that I can't give this coordinate to that player. I've got to take it because it's going to be worth so many points for them. It has those beautiful decisions in it. Phenomenal. The next game that made me feel like spring was the wonderful polyomino game Tipperary, because this game is all about sheep. It really is. There's a sheep phase in the game. Get excited. In this, you're spinning a spinner, and where your emblem lands, you get a choice between two polyomino tiles. You've got your starting area, which is also, you use it for other things, but it's you're surrounding it. You're trying to create the biggest square that you can, because that's going to score you points. You're trying to create flocks of sheep with your tiles, because that's going to score you points. You want to put distilleries next to grain fields, because that's going to get you whiskey, which is going to get you points. You want to get a few other things that are going to get you bonus tiles to help you straighten out your not quite a square into a square, or connect your things together in a way that you might want to do it. And you can get extra bonus sheep to kind of like connect your flocks together into a larger flock of sheep for points. It just oozes springtime joy, I feel. It really does feel like a spring-themed game. And I really like it. I think it was a bit of an under-the-radar game because it did what a lot of other games do, another polyomino game. But I think it did it in a way that really was very charming. It helps that it's Tipperary. For me, that helps a lot. But a wonderfully charming game that I think was overlooked. It's a good one. What are your favourite games to play that feel like spring? That bring in the equinox? I don't know what anything means. What games make you feel like spring? I want to know. And give me your justifications, no matter how tenuous. But before the next question, we have a message from a man from a frozen land where spring never shines.
I couldn't be more excited about the support we're getting for this episode from Many Worlds Tavern because a couple of years ago I fell deep down a coffee rabbit hole. Can you tell? If you like coffee and you want the easiest way to up your coffee game, you don't need all this stuff. This only happens when you get a little carried away. For good coffee, you want well-roasted whole coffee beans that you grind fresh before you make your cup. And that's what you get with Many Worlds Tavern. They know games are fun, but when you get people together for a game night, you want to create a great experience too. And now you can surprise your guests with a fresh cup of coffee based around themes of adventure, coziness, treasures, magic, and even eldritch horrors. Roasted at their facilities in the US, this is a company of passionate individuals doing exciting and personal work. I'm going to make an espresso using their homely house blend, but check out these information cards that give you details on the coffee that you can flip over and then use as tokens in Magic the Gathering. I know you can get your coffee from a variety of places, but supporting a company that shares a passion for gaming, uses beautiful and sustainable packaging, and roasts coffees that give you a variety of great tastes to enjoy, that's a choice I'm delighted to be encouraging you to make. And if you want a quicker and even easier way into brewing a cup of coffee at game night, they also have instant options, and I was able to prepare a cup in the time it took me to talk about it. Not a coffee person? No problem. Many Worlds Tavern also offers a variety of teas as well. But either way, a big thanks to Many Worlds Tavern for sponsoring this episode and helping make this show possible. If you like this show and want to help support it, pick up a great bag of coffee or tea from Many Worlds Tavern and let them know that Watch It Played sent you. But now, back to the show.
The next question we have this month is, what should I say to my friends who think board games just kinda suck? We've all been in that position. You've got a friend and they just don't get it. Not only don't they get it, they don't want to get it. They also don't care, right? And it feels, trust me, games are brilliant. You'd love them. There's a game for everyone. All these things we've always said. I know I can find a game that you'll enjoy, change your life, you'll love it. But some people just aren't into games, don't want to play games, don't want to be proven wrong because they are wrong. But some people don't care. And to them, I would say, cool, let's do something else. That's it. I love anime. I love it. Not all anime, of course. I don't like romance stories, but I like anime a lot. And I fundamentally believe that there is an anime show out there for everyone, because anime isn't one thing. It's a medium. You want a detective story, then maybe you want to go watch Bungo Stray Dogs. You want a romance kind of slice of life thing, then Spy X Family might be for you. You want a thriller, a terrible, horrendous, thrilling thriller, then maybe watch Monster. It's great, but it will change you. But no matter how many times I can recommend an anime to someone, or recommend the medium of anime to someone, a place where there's every kind of story you could really want to hear can be found within anime, just like films are all different. Or you don't like music, but there's so many different types of music, there's so many different types of anime. Watch anime is what I'm trying to say. Imagine going your whole life and never watching Demon Slayer. What's wrong with you? I mean, come on. But some people are happy without anime in their life, and they don't need anything else. They don't need it in their life for them to feel happy. They're happy without anime, and they're not interested in broadening into anime. And that's fine. Board games are just like that, aren't they? I mean, Humans love games. We love games. All humans love games of some description. But some people just don't care to care. They've got some preconceived notions and ideas and opinions and stigmas and all that. And for whatever reason, whether they're right or wrong, they're valid opinions that they have. And games just aren't for them. And while I think that leading a life where you never watch Golden Kamuy, it's so good, I think that's devastating. I understand that some people just aren't interested in it, aren't going to be interested in it. And it's the same with board games. Some people are fine never playing them. So to those people who just think board games suck, talk to them in a friendly way. We don't need to, we don't need to proselytize it too much, but talk to them, see what they think. But if they really aren't going to budge on that position, just find something you'd have in common and do that instead. I think sometimes you just end up wasting yours and their time. You might as well just find something else that you enjoy. Even though, yes, as we all know, they are wrong. Some people are just wrong sometimes. Maybe we're wrong. Look at us now. We're on the internet talking about board games. And the final question this month is, should we have more board game tournaments? Feels like they are missing from the hobby. So I looked into this, back to my empirical data searching, and turns out there are a lot more board game tournaments for board games that you would not think there would be tournaments for. I wrote a few of them down. Carcassonne and Catan, of course, Scrabble and Diplomacy. There's a bunch of tournaments for traditional and old games like Shogi and Twix, but there's the relatively newer Camisado, which has a tournament. I thought that was an interesting one. But the list, while I've written down, it isn't that extensive, really. There are a lot of unofficial tournaments as well, but I think we're talking about like official tournaments. I mean, we live in a world where TCGs and card games, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, all those kind of games have tournaments, multiple tournaments a year. People travel all across the world to go to these tournaments, flying to Australia to get another chance to go to the finals, that type of situation. The tournaments in esports, massive business. It's huge. Probably lends itself to tournaments and exciting viewing more than board games. That's the thing with board games. They're fun to play. I get that. But are they fun to watch people play at a competitive level? I don't know how much I need to watch someone play chess in silence. There's a lot of silent thinking, muttering that goes on in board games. I don't think transpose itself to good TV, and ultimately that's the thing with tournaments. We need to monetize them. They need to have money, and the way that they're exciting and the way that people want to do them is because there's lots of money to be won, and they have to have a good viewing to do that. You have to be able to televise it, and poker's exciting to watch, and everyone kind of understands roughly how poker works. E-games are, everyone can gather that because I shot the guy in Call of Duty and now I'm screaming like this, whoop whoop, that was a good thing. We can kind of gauge what's going on with that. But board games, I don't know if there's that many tournaments for them, because it's how to monetize them, how to advertise them, and how exciting they are for people to take place and part in because of the discrepancy with an audience that they might have. For me personally, I'm not particularly interested in playing board games in any type of competitive level. That's not why I enjoy games. It's not what I like about games. I appreciate that other people feel differently. There's levels of competitiveness, right? And I think that high competitive, I have to win no matter what the cost is, I don't care if I lose friends tonight kind of feeling, I think it just brings out the worst in people. And that's not what I want in games. Sometimes it's hard to remember how small board games is. People forget that Magic the Gathering, the one game, is bigger than the board game industry. That's why there can be so many tournaments happening, is because Magic the Gathering on its own is bigger than board games. And when you put it that way, how many people are there out there to play board games in a tournament, who know the game well enough to play in a tournament? The pool of people to draw from is really very small. Okay, we need people who want to play this game in this area at this level, and it's like this keeps on jumping in and in and in until you've only got 3 people, which isn't enough for a tournament. I do see that Board Game Arena hold a lot of tournaments on their platform, but I see that as being quite different because it's completely low cost, low stakes. You don't have to fly anywhere, do anything. You can be sat at home eating a bowl of cereal whilst in the tournament. So I feel like that's very different. How about you? Do you wish there was more tournaments? Do you care that there isn't that many tournaments? Is there a tournament that you really care about that I don't know about that you want to mention in the comments? Do it. And until next time, everyone, thank you so much for being here. And I just appreciate you so much. Any answers to any questions, put them below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.